In this video, you're going to learn how to create a human head and also the neck in Blender using the sculpting tools. We're going to cover human anatomy when it comes to the bones, the skull and muscles. Same with the fat pads and how to put all of them together. And then also how to create the neck and including all those muscles. On top of that, we're going to cover all the sculpting tools that I use and how I use them. And of course, how I go about my workflow of creating a human character or a human head, human bust, whatever you want to call it. This is actually a snippet out of one of my live streams. If you want to join one of them, feel free to join me. There should be a link in the description and also in the top right corner of this video. If you like this video, of course, feel free to give it a like. If you don't like the video, feel free to give it a dislike and tell me in the comments what you want to see better than next time. And yeah, let's go into the video. What I like to do is I like to focus on the different layers. I've talked about it a million times now, but my workflow basically works from the skull to the muscles on top of the skull to the fat pads on top of the skull, just so I can focus on each individual part and make sure that each one of them looks good before I go on to the next one. They all are part of the face, they're all part of the structure of the face, but they all play their own part in, or they have their own role. So making sure that each one of them looks good before you move on to the next one, I think is easier than trying to create a face from a sphere right away. So of course, let's begin with the skull. I guess, how I usually begin is by creating the very basic shape and then I guess defining it a little bit more. So the most basic shape would be, you have right now, I guess the upper part of the skull and the round part where your brain is located. And then we create the jaw. What we do for the jaw is basically just grabbing it here with the snake hook brush right here. There you go. And then dragging it down. We don't really need to nail the length of his face just yet. This is only, we can customize the shape once we have the basic shape. And then we have the length of the face. We also need the width of the face, or the jaw rather. So we can now grab this piece here and pull it to the side to create a nice jaw shape. We can see it's way too wide, so we're gonna make it a little bit slimmer. Usually, or generally, the jaw is or the cheekbones are wider than the jaw. You can see the same in his face. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. And also, usually the upper part of the head is wider than the jaw, the width of the jaw. So making this a little bit thinner than up here helps and makes the character or the skull look more realistic. So now that we have the basic shape of the skull, we can maybe pull this a little bit further back like this. We can of course detail this some more, make the jaw more apparent. There you go. We also need to pull the head or this sphere part a little bit further back, as you can see in the reference. You can see it's more like an oval rather than just a sphere. So we're going to pull it back a little bit more in this direction. Grabbing the good old snake hook brush, because that's the easiest one to just pull out and also move around part of the geometry, making it a little bit longer like this. Making sure that it still stays quite round. Smoothing it. Okay, perfect. We can now immediately look at the reference to kind of see what his forehead looks like. His forehead is kind of, I guess, like mine, rather like pulled backwards slightly. That's also something like a characteristic of a person. We're gonna leave it there for now. Okay. What I'd like to do now is basically add the two very significant pitfalls or like deep parts of the face. If you look at my skull here, this skull isn't like anatomically correct, but it still serves the purpose. You can see there are two big holes in the skull when you look from the side. You have one right here where the jaw connects to the upper part of the skull, where you have in the middle you have the teeth right here, but then you have these big holes in between here. So we're going to dig in here a little bit, and then we're going to do the same up here as well, where basically we define the jawbone a little bit more. Right here you can see in between these big holes, you can see the jawbone. So what we're going to do is we're basically just going to use the clay strips brush, and we're going to dig in here a little bit like this. This will be for the mouth part. There you go. And then we're going to do the same up here. Usually the what is it, like the upper hole right here is basically where the other ends. Like, I'm going to show it to you in here. It's either like, if this is down here, ends right here, the other one would begin over here or a little bit further forward. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the clay strips brush again to remove some more geometry right over here, doing it like this, in this sort of, I guess, in this sort of shape, this cube shape. There you go. Just to kind of create the most basic skull shape. There you go. Smoothing everything a little bit more. Perfect down here as well. Okay, we can maybe make this a little bit wider. Perfect. Okay. You can already see it looks more like a skull than before, but we're not done yet, of course. What I want to do though, actually, yeah, I'm gonna pull this a little bit further into the middle. There you go. Okay. Then what we can do, we can make sure that the cheekbones are slightly lower than, I guess, of course the cheekbones are underneath the eyes. The eyes are roughly in the middle of the face. So what we want to make sure here is that the cheekbones are lower than the middle of the face. So we're going to just grab them and pull them a little bit lower like this. If this would be, you know, the middle of the face, roughly over here. Oh, this here. I think that's roughly the middle of the face, or the head. The cheekbones would be lower. Perfect. Then we're going to add the eye holes. Eye holes, of course, as I said before, in the middle of the face. So roughly over here. We're just going to add them like this. They're slightly, I guess, rotated downwards. And there you go. We can maybe increase the strength some more. Perfect. The sides of the eyes are quite, I guess, thin right here. These sides are quite thin. They also slightly stick to this round shape here. So they go a little bit further forward like this. Okay, so you have this rounding right here. Perfect. And then, of course, you have the forehead right there. Perfect. Looks more like a skull than before. So let's add some more. The next step would be to add the hold on, I need to bring in some more volume right here. Usually the back of the head is wider than the front. This looks better now. One thing that I actually see now is that the chin goes quite far down. Usually you can see it's not that, I guess, you know, tilted down. It's quite, I guess, you know, straight, rough, or it's not really, or it's not that crazy. You need to pull the chin up just a little bit like this. There you go. That's better. Yeah. Okay. General Grievous, yeah, slightly. And then, of course, I guess the easiest thing we could add would be the cheekbone right here, making this a little bit wider. The cheekbone basically ends where, or like in this view, in the side view, it ends where the eyes end basically, or where the nose begins. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of make this a little bit deeper, like this, and you can already see the cheekbones start to build. We can maybe pull this lower a little bit as well, kind of remove some volume here. There you go. Pulling this line all the way down over here to the cheekbones gives us some nice cheekbones in the end. Look at that. Adding some more volume here to the side. Make them wider than the jaw. Smoothing it some more. Making sure that from the top or of course bottom view, this part here of the cheekbone is roughly on the same level or in the same position in this direction, than where it connects to the nose. And that is exactly the case in here. Perfect. if you want to look at some reference, hold on, let me see if I can pull up some reference real quick. You can see right here, the cheekbone, or the general rule is if you go from this right here, from where the jaw connects to the upper part of the skull, all the way to the tip of the nose, in the middle of this length, like right here, this length, that's where the cheekbone is located. And the cheekbone basically starts here at the nose and then goes straight outwards without going further in this direction. Like in this direction, it goes straight like this outwards. You can see it right here. You cannot see how it connects to the nose because it's hidden behind this piece right here. And then of course, if you get older, it kind of deforms the face a little bit. But that's one thing we have to keep in mind. There you go. That this basically here is on the same level as this. Looks pretty good to me. We can maybe pull this forward a little bit. There you go. Maybe pull this back a little bit as well. Perfect. Okay. Look at him. He looks scared. Okay. Also, one thing we have to keep in mind. We can now immediately use the reference for as reference for the skull. As you can see in this, the lighting is perfect for the to be used as reference for the skull, especially in this region right here, the forehead, and then around the eyes. There aren't that many muscles, not that much fat. So what we can do is we can, for example, go in here and kind of see the definition of the. You can see, I'm just gonna draw what I basically tried to trace onto this skull. You can see, for example, here, that's where the eye hole begins. You can't really see how it like perfectly goes, but I think it goes like this, and then all the way back into the center again, and then you can see the outer part right here, like this. Then you have the cheekbone going into the center right there. You have the mouth, of course, like this. You have the jaw. Perfect. Of course, it's kind of tilted downwards. You can see the nose is lower than the ears, but still. There you go. Like this. We have the chin, of course. And then, of course, we have the nose as well. Like this. Perfect. So even with good lighting, you can really see the skull of a character without having to strip off his muscles, skin, and fat. So let's use this now as reference for the skull. I'm gonna remove these drawings again. Hopefully I can remove everything. Perfect. Okay. You can see, for example, his eyes are kind of slightly like tilted inwards. What I mean is like this here goes further into the middle. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pull it more into the middle, like this. Also, his face overall, I think, is thinner. We can probably also make it overall just a little bit thinner. Okay, that should be better now. Also, probably this needs to be quite straight, more like this. There you go. Okay, and then of course the mouth, we don't really see because there's so much covering the mouth. I guess the teeth, the mouth bones, you could say, that we can't really use that as reference necessarily. But now we already have the cheekbones. Let's add the nose as well. The nose, of course, roughly over here. The nose, basically, if you draw the hole, or that's also in the video that's going to come out tomorrow, how to sculpt the nose in detail in 5 minutes, basically. You can see, hold on. If you look at the hole of the nose, you can see this hole basically is where, or it basically tells you where the nose is located. So the bottom of the hole is basically the bottom of the nose, and then of course the top of the hole is the top of the bridge of the nose, and then how wide the hole is means also how wide the nose is. Maybe it's a little bit wider because, you know, you have the nostrils, but in general, the width of the hole basically, or the size of the hole and the position tells you where the soft part of the nose is on the character. Let's go back to Blender. There you go. Let's continue. We're gonna create the hole first, of course. Just going in here. The hole, of course, being right under the what is it? the eyes right here. Let's see how. Let me go into more, zoom in some more. Of course, his nose is quite thin. That's one thing we have to keep in mind. And it's actually quite long, so I'm gonna make it maybe this long for now. I think that's okay. One thing we have to keep in mind, of course, is that the bridge goes forward. You can see that in, let me just actually pull up one profile view so we can switch between the two perspectives. There you go. You can see it goes straight forward. His forehead is actually quite, I guess, you know, far forward as well. That's one thing we have to keep in mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this nice sort of, you know, pull this forward to kind of keep this in mind here. This how it's like immediately goes straight forward, and how he has like quite a big forehead. So what we can do is we can just add more volume over here, like this. Okay. Smoothing that some more, you can see now. Okay, we're gonna add some more over here. Perfect. We can also see, we can probably pull this up a little bit more. There you go. And then we make sure that this piece right here also is slightly in front of the teeth, around it. And also we have this slight little tip that goes forward. It isn't really that important, but I'm gonna put it in for now. We're gonna stick to the actual, you know, anatomically correct I guess shape. Okay, so one thing that I see right now, I think, is the nose a little bit too long, so we're gonna pull it a little bit higher. There, it's not super much longer than the cheek, so pulling it a little bit higher should work. Should help with that. There you go. Especially, no, we can't really see that in the other reference, so this should probably work more or work better. There you go. Okay. So now that we have the hole, let's go to the teeth. In general, the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin, in the middle of that is roughly where the lips are. But the problem is the lips don't really are in the middle of the teeth, or generally. The teeth cover, or the, hold on. They are slightly, I guess, moved upwards. The lower teeth are lower than the middle of the lips, but you know, if we sculpt him smiling, that isn't that important. So if we go from the bottom here to the top right there, I think it's roughly over here, and then the teeth basically just go like straight, vertically straight, like this. They don't change height, and then move back here behind this piece. Basically, we don't need to go into too much detail. Of course, we're gonna add some muscles later, so we make sure that we don't waste our time detailing this skull. Okay, that's okay, perfect. Let me just quickly see if everything looks good so far. We also probably can make this chin a little bit, I guess, edgier, like this. There you go. Also, what we have to keep in mind is that the teeth are slightly further forward than the nose, the bottom of the nose right here. So we're just gonna add some more volume right here, not too much, just a little bit, so it has some more. Yeah, it goes a little bit further forward. Perfect. Okay. So now that we have the basic skull, we can add some. We can add some muscles. Let's begin adding the muscles. Of course, the easiest muscles to add would be, for example, the mouth muscles, the jaw muscles, and of course the muscles that are right in this pit, you could say. So let's add those first. We just go in here and kind of fill the space up to make it, I guess, you know, kind of line up with this edge right here. The eye edge, you could say, for the skull, like this. Perfect. We can maybe can use some more refinement here, make it sharper. I think that's okay. Okay. Then we go, we can probably make this even, put it closer together. Actually, no, I'm going to keep it there. Okay. Let's go to the bottom, the jaw, basically. Let's add some muscles there as well that go up to, basically from here, all the way up to the cheekbone, like this. Let's add that. Filling this space, basically, like this. Perfect. Attaching to the cheekbone. And then, of course, we also have, first of all, the lip part, which is, of course, like the lips are basically like a round, or the mouth is basically like a round muscle that just covers the teeth right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to smooth this out and create like this round piece above the teeth, like this. Perfect. Not too much, otherwise it looks kind of weird. You can see his lips are quite straight down. So we probably need to pull the chin back a little bit as well. There you go. Perfect. Let's add the muscles that go to the cheek from the mouth muscle. Basically like this. And now we can basically fill this space up some more. There you go. Basically what we can do now is we can kind of fill all the space up. There are some more substitute muscles next to these, I guess, most important muscles that fill up everything here. There you go. Okay, now that we have all the muscles in the mouth region, let's add some more to the. Of course, we could add the nose. Let's add the nose first. So to add the nose, of course, what we can do is we can first of all fill this. Otherwise, we just have like a big hole in the nose. We're gonna fill this first, like this. We could probably even like fill everything, like create the whole nose by just adding some more geometry here. And then if we have enough to pull it out, basically this, we can use the snake hook brush to just pull out more geometry. There you go. Oh, okay. Let me make this straight. There you go. Trying to get this kind of shape right. You can see, I think what we need to do is we need to kind of pull it further back a little bit, like this. Also, I think the length is too long, so I'm going to pull it higher, slightly. There you go. Okay. Perfect. So now that we have the length, of course, it's not perfect yet, but of course, so far it looks good. What we're going to do now is we're going to add the nostrils as well, just like this. There you go. Pretty simple. And then we can use the crease brush to kind of separate them from the rest of the face. There you go. Okay. Perfect. So now that we have the nose, we can maybe, put the nose holes in there as well. It's not really super necessary just yet. What we can do now, of course, is we can add the eyes. The eyes basically are like, just eye, like the eyeballs instead of the eye hole of the skull. And then you have different muscles that hold it not only in the place that it is, but also rotate it, of course. You have muscles that are kind of, if this is the eye, and this is the nerve that goes into the brain. You have muscles that attach not only up here but also down here that kind of, you know, rotate the eye like this. You have one that are like on the side as well, and then on top of that you have the eyelid as well. So that means you don't really see the muscles that like rotate the eye, but what you see is the eyelids. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the eye, and that is actually different now. That's one thing that I changed, or that I want to change for this piece. What I want to do here is basically sculpt the eye before I add the eyeball later. So what I want to do here is I wanted to sculpt it rather than using an eyeball. What I did before is basically I added an eyeball and then I kind of matched it so that the size fits, and then I put it into the eye hole, and then basically I sculpted around the eyeball, the eyelids. What I want to do now is I wanted to see if it works better if I sculpt everything first and then I add the eyeballs later. So what we're going to do is we basically just fill this up to create the eye. Of course, what we have to keep in mind is that the eye sits quite deep in the face. So one thing we have to keep in mind is we have to pull this probably further back just slightly. Okay, that's pretty good. And then we need to, of course, at least add some more volume right here. There you go. The inner part of the eye is actually quite deep in the face. You can see it in here as well. And then the outer part kind of, I guess, is on the same, or kind of has a nice seamless transition to the bony part here at the bottom, or on the outside. So we're going to smooth this out some more. There you go. We can then kind of, I guess, sort of hint at the eye slightly, okay? Just a slight hint, basically. Just to kind of get a feel of the size and the shape. There you go. What I also want to do is I want to pull his forehead down a little bit. Like this. Okay, that's better. You can see it in this reference image in this reference image, you can see his eyebrows are quite deep. Of course, in this image is even more, I guess, pronounced than in the reference that I have here, because he looks downwards. That means the eyebrows cover his eye a little bit more. Okay, perfect. We also see right now from the side that he doesn't have any of this, like the small bump on the side of the forehead that is created by the bone that goes around the eye hole. So what we can do is we can just, you know, either pull it out like this, pull it out like this slightly, or we can just add it with the clay strips. There you go. They kind of have this triangle shape, like this, starting from here into the middle and then also upwards like this. There you go. And that's kind of the shape. It's pretty subtle, but it's still important to know. And to add it like this. There you go. Okay. This can probably be lower as well. There you go. Okay. Perfect. So let's keep the eyes there for now. We can probably pull this down a little bit more. There you go. Okay. Of course, we don't have any detail in the eyes, but that's okay. We don't really care about the, you know, the character necessarily just yet. We try to put in all the features first, and then we really focus on making the sculpt look like, or capturing the likeness of the character. So we don't really focus on the proportions necessarily yet. Let's add then the part of the mouth muscle that isn't in here yet, which are the lips. Let's add the lips. As we said before, roughly chin to bottom of nose. In the middle of that would be the lips. So roughly over here. There you go. I'm gonna make them just like a neutral expression first. We're gonna add his smile later. Very, very slight smile. There you go. If we add like the small crease with the crease brush, what we can do is we can smooth it to create these two lips. They are too far forward right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back a little bit. I'm also going to go back to the other reference. There you go, to look at it. Okay. One thing we have to do is we have to pull this forward a little bit. There you go. Perfect. And then what we could do is we could use the crease brush again. Not only by removing it, we can form the lips. We can also add some right here to create the upper part of the lip. Like this. There you go. Then we can do the same for the bottom part as well. Like this. If we're still staying pretty rough, we just try to add like the roughest lips we can add. Like this. Okay. So now that we have that, let's go to yeah, I guess the next part would be either the chin or the ears. Let's add the chin first. The chin, pretty simple. You can see the reference right here. It kind of connects to the shape of the jaw. You can see the jaw connects to the chin and then has this nice, I guess, bump in the front. We don't have that bump right now. So what we do is we add that bump. The shape of the chin is basically like beginning here in the middle of the lips and then going down like this. This is basically the shape of the chin. So what we do is basically we create like a pit here down there, and then we add some more volume here to here, like this. There you go. And then you can create a nice little chin. Perfect. Smooth it out. There you go. We've added the chin. We can see the chin might be a little bit more round than that, maybe even down here a little bit more. So we're just going to add a little bit more, not too much. There you go. Perfect. We can also see that seems like the chin, let's keep it like this for now. Okay. Seems like the upper lip is further forward, so we're going to pull it forward a little bit more. I'm looking at the distance from the tip to, I guess, this part of the, basically where the lip ends. Like the length. That's what I'm looking at right now. Okay. Perfect. Okay, let's go to the ears. As we said before, the ears are basically beginning at the bottom of the nose and going almost all the way up, or yeah, they go all the way up to where the nose connects to the forehead. You can see it right here. If we paint it, hold on. Zip and zip. You can see how it perfectly is not only the same length, but also the same position. So we can do the same for the sculpt. We can go in here. We can make sure that we go behind the jaw. If you look at the reference, the skull basically. Oh, that's Photoshop. There you go. You can see this small little hole right there. You can see the jaw, the bottom jaw connects to the head right here. That's where it's connected, the axis where it rotates around. And then you have this hole behind the jaw. That is where the nose is located. Welcome, Jake the Plumber 16. Yeah, basically behind the jaw is where you create, where you put the ear, or where the ear goes into the head. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind. If we go back to our skull, you can see that we need to, if this is the jaw ending, we add the ear right behind that. We begin, of course, on the same height as the nose, right here, and go all the way up to where it connects to the forehead, right here. There you go. That looks good to me. So what we do now is we create a mask, which we can then pull out to create the ear. We're going to go from here to here, roughly. We're going to create a nose shape like this. And then we're going to invert it, grab the snake hook brush, and pull it out. There you go. We can make it a little bit, pull it higher and lower. Also, it's quite far off the head, so we're going to pull it closer to the head again. There you go. Perfect. There you go, smoothing it. Okay, of course, it is quite flat, so let's detail the ear a little bit, give it some more structure. The easiest way to do that would be to use the crease brush. We're going to go in here and use the same resolution, but what I want to do, what I want to set is front faces only. I want to take that, because that basically prevents you from ruining your sculpt, in at least especially the ears. Front faces only basically means that your brush is a 3D sphere that affects the area around it, you know, in this circle basically. So which means if you make your brush big enough, you basically not only affect this side, but also this side. Nope, hold on. Oh, this front face is only affected. Wait, why does it not work? It actually works how it's supposed to now. Maybe we have to use the other one, this one. That's weird. Okay, maybe they fix that. But usually what happens is, of course, because the brush, if you see how thin it is, the brush would go through to the other side of the surface. So what would happen is basically it would not only say, okay, we'll remove or add. Hold on, I think I know how it works. Ah, there it is. See how it destroys the sculpt? Because it basically says pull the faces closer to you. But then it also affects the other side. So it tells this side as well to pull it further in this direction, you know, in this direction, which means that you create this weird glitching and you create this weird hole. You can fix that by applying front faces only, doing the same for the crease brush, which is what we're going to use here. Let's see what it looks like without. You can see, oh, it actually didn't do it. See how it does that? Applying it doesn't do that. So that's what we utilize here to kind of make this very, very thin ear a little bit thicker. Yeah, it usually never does it when you want to show it. Okay, so let's refine the ear shape a little bit. We just go in here and kind of create some thickness, especially on the edge, like this. And then once we have this C shape, we can go into the middle of the ear. We also have to remove, or we have to create like a hole right here, which this kind of piece goes into. There you go, this bean shape. And then we have the Y shape in the middle. The Y shape is basically this shape right here. So what we do is we not add it, we remove parts to create this Y shape. So what we do is we create like a stripe right here, and then like a triangle right here to create this Y shape right there. There you go. And that's how you create the ear structure, basically. We have the small little dip right here in the front as well. And then if we smooth everything, it looks more like an ear. One thing we have to keep in mind is, of course, the size, and not only, also the position. The position looks good, I think. Yeah, looks pretty good. The size looks, he has quite small ears. So, of course, to make it smaller, we can just kind of push it back to where it came from, basically. There you go. And then we can detail it a little bit more right here. We can also add some more volume right here. That's usually how the ear is shaped. It's kind of quite thick in the back, like this. And then we have the earlobe, which is connected to the side of the head, which is what we have to disconnect as well. Keep in mind that some people have like a earlobe that in the bottom basically like merges with the jaw, and some have like a free hanging earlobe, you could say. Some people have like this U shape, and some people have like this zip, this connection. Okay, that's the ear for now. Very rough, but that's exactly what it's supposed to be, or how it's supposed to be. We can probably pull it closer to the head, not too much though. Actually, that's pretty good. The jaw's too wide, so I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. There you go. Also, we can see this is too wide, so I'm going to pull it a little bit closer as well. Okay, that's way better. Perfect. Okay. So, perfect. Let's adjust now that we have everything. Oh, we have one more thing that we need to add. But before we add that thing, I think I want to make a quick check, or kind of adjust all the pieces that we have added now, and make the proportions, adjust the proportions a little bit. Especially in the front view, you can see his nose is here way wider than in this, I guess his nose in real life is thinner than in the sculpt right now. So what we can do is we can kind of make it thinner, especially in the tip right here. We can also remove feathering in the symmetry so that we can affect the middle of this sculpt a little bit more. There you go. Pull this closer together. Especially the bridge is thinner. So we're going to make this just a little bit thinner as well. Perfect. You mean... Hold on, then I want to go back to the profile view. Oh, we can probably, we can use this to adjust the width of the mouth. I think the mouth width looks okay for now. It's roughly, the edges are roughly where his eyes, the middle of the eye is. So that fits quite well. But I think the front view looks is too far forward. Let's check that, if that's actually true. Yeah, it needs to be pulled further back. So we're going to pull it further back. Just slightly, of course. Not too much. I think that's pretty good. There you go. Yeah, the scope, the middle part of the scope, or basically in the middle of while you're sculpting, it looks like Squidward. I also always call it either old man's face or Squidward face, and then in the end it's perfect the more you detail it. Yeah, it just once you know what is still coming, you kind of get used to it. That it looks kind of weird in the middle. Okay, because you know what you need to do to make it better. Okay, yeah, ear topology is so weird. I usually end up with this weird loop that goes from one ear to the other and then loops back to the other one. It's so weird. Okay, one thing I think I see is that the nose goes too far forward. If you look at the forehead, just creating I can actually draw it going down here. You can see it's not, I think it's not a perfect profile view, but you can still see, I have some reference here as well, where he kind of looks more to the side. So the forehead is actually further forward than the mouth. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind. We're going to pull not only his mouth and chin further back, we're also going to pull his nose further back. So we're going to grab all of this, pull it a little bit further back, like this. I think the nose is also a little bit too long, so we're going to pull it higher, just very, very slightly, very, very slight changes. I think we need to pull the chin higher as well, just very slightly as well. We can see this length right here on our scope is way too long. So we're going to grab the good old grab brush and just adjust that as well. Oh, skipping retopology. Yeah, I mean, if it's possible, then I would do it as well. Of course, it's always nice to train retopology because it is very useful, but sometimes you just want to get your character done. You don't want to care about the the topology necessarily. Okay. Okay, let's look. We need to add one more layer, and that layer is the muscles. I mean, not the muscles. The muscles we already added, but the fat. You could see that's why his eyes look so weird. There's no fat on the eyes. We're gonna add that in just a second. But what I want to adjust first is his nose. I think one thing that is missing for his nose is the nose tip part that basically starts right here and goes into the middle like this from both sides. That's not in here just yet, so we're just gonna add it like this. Keep it quite thin right there. Perfect. We can also maybe remove some of this. Oh, that's too much. There you go. Of course, it's still pretty rough, so we don't really have to care about this perfect line right here, or this, that is perfectly straight. But we can at least kind of adjust it in the way that it looks more like the reference. Okay. Next thing that I want to do is I want to go in here and kind of, you can see how far back the nostril goes. I want to detail this some more. Add some more volume right here. Pull the nostril back basically just slightly. One thing you have to keep in mind, if you especially use references, if you want to sculpt a neutral face, but you have references for the with somebody smiling, when you smile, you pull the nostrils up slightly as well. So they, if you smile, you not only pull the cheeks up, you also pull the nostrils up slightly. And that is because there's a muscle that goes right from here, right next to the nostril up to the nose, I think, connects to the cheekbone right there, which is used for smiling. That means, it pulls the nostril up as well. Good thing is, for the bottom of the nose, I have references as well. So let me use those real quick to kind of shape the nose right here. That's pretty good. I like it, I like it. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I think that's good for now. We can see that his mouth is slightly, is it actually behind? Hold on. I have another reference, of course. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, no, the mouth is roughly on the same level vertically, or no, horizontally with the nostril. So roughly over here. That works quite well. Okay. So now that we have everything when it comes to the muscles, and we've kind of adjusted the proportions to make it look more, I guess, according to his face. Hold on, I want to see this length again. Yeah, that works quite well, I think. Okay. Now that we have everything, the muscles and the bone, let's add the fat. Of course, he has quite a lean face. He's quite lean, you could say. He doesn't have that many big fat pads that cover his face, which means his face is very defined. You can especially see it in this image. You can see how I guess, sharp the outline right here is. If you would have more fat, that would mean you would, for example, have like some more fat down here that kind of make this cheek a little bit, smoother. And in general, these, for example, down here, you can see this very, very straight line going down here. That wouldn't really be the case if you have some more, if he would have some more fat on him, because you have this fat pad that goes from here, basically, down like this. You can see it really, like this is the outer edge of the fat pad, then goes up like this, covers the part underneath the eye, basically. If it's very lean, you can see a very clear definition right here. If it would have some more volume, you would have like a smoother outline. Yep. So what you basically have for the eye is like the hole right here. You then have the bridge of the nose, of course, like this. Then what you have is the fat pad going from here all the way down. And what it does is it kind of goes over the cheekbone. The cheekbone is right here and goes back like this. Can you see it? Like this white line right here. And the fat pad basically goes over this cheekbone and then down like this. Zip. And basically attaches to the side of the nose like this. Yeah. So that's what we're going to add first. Hold on. Let me remove all these lines. Hopefully we can remove everything. Okay, perfect. Let's add the fat pad for the cheek first. There you go. No, there were some big floods, not where I live, but yeah, they're still working on, I guess, fixing everything up again. No, you can be off topic. You don't need to just stick to what we do here, of course. Not trying to make this, super strict. You have to only, ask questions or whatnot about the topic. You can talk about whatever. Okay, So now that we have, now that we know where to place the fat, let's add it. It begins, as I said before, right here, basically here, goes over the underneath the eye, over the cheekbone right here, and then goes down like this, and ends right there. And then we also have the bottom of the fat pad that goes and connects to the nostril right here, and basically connects like this. So that's what it looks like. Let's add it. Of course, because he is quite lean, the volume needs to be quite low. So I'm just going to reduce the strength and just add a slight, I guess, yeah, add slightly more volume right here. Not too much. You can see that's also the fat pad that creates this line right here. When you smile, this fat pad that would be down here somewhere gets pulled upwards because the muscle down here pulls it in this direction because it's connected to the cheekbone, and that creates this smiling line as well. That's why this fat pad is so important. Let's add some more here. And that is also why you need shots from the side, because now you can look at the sculpt from this direction or from this position, for example, and you can see not only how far the cheekbone kind of pokes out on the side, you can also see how voluptuous the like this fat pad is supposed to be. If you add some more volume right here, you can see how it changes the silhouette. You see how it like gets much wider, or get much, you know, you can see the difference right here. That's why you use the 3/4 view references. So I'm going to pull one up right now. Perfect. Okay. So one thing that I see is the cheekbone needs to be a little bit higher. I'm going to add some more volume right here, like this. That's good. I also want to pull down the cheekbone just slightly. Not too much, just slightly. There you go. Okay. And then this fat pad is quite you know, thin, as we said before. So this doesn't really add too much volume. It basically creates like a line going from the cheekbone to the jaw down here, or to the mouth. So we need to add one more fat pad to kind of continue or finish that line. This is the first one that is located right here. Perfect. And then it all goes all the way up to the nose like this and connects right there. Okay. Perfect. And that is the first fat pad that we need to add. The next one would be, hold on, I want to look at the cheekbone real quick just to see if it looks good. Yeah, we can probably even pull the cheekbone slightly further in. Like this, and also like further back, just slightly. Yeah. I want to see the profile view again, just to kind of see how further back the eyes go. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So now that we have that, let's add some more fat pads. Now that we have this one, let's add another one that is very important, which would be the one above the eyes. You can see we have a very crazy like crease here at the top. We're gonna fix that now. We go back to this reference. You can probably not really see it because, as we said before, he's quite lean. But what you can see is this fold right here. This fold right there. This fold is being created by the fat pad that lies on top of the eyelid. So the eyelid is basically right here, and basically is bigger than what you can see here. That goes like this, roughly. But because there's a fat pad lying on top of the eyelid, you can only see this very slight piece of it. So where the fat pad lies is right here. It begins basically like here at the outer corner. And then it goes from here in, lies on top of the eyelid right there, and then goes into the middle and ends right there. and that's basically where it lies. That's not, we haven't implemented that just yet, so let's add it now to make it look more like him and make it look more realistic as well. So I'm going to go in here and use the clay strips brush and add the fat pad right here, like this. This will not only make his kind of this transition smoother, it will also, you know, create this crease for the eyelid that is very important. And it makes it look more natural, of course, because of that. There you go, going all the way to the middle. That's good for now. Yeah, perfect. Let's go to this view. Maybe we can get some some information from here as well. You can see it goes quite low in my reference. It doesn't go that low in his real face. You can also see that this edge right here is higher than it needs to be. You can see this one's lower. So we're going to pull it down slightly, like that. Pull this fat pad slightly higher. And there you go. We could, of course, add this sort of fold right here if we wanted to. Let's do that. Okay, perfect. Smooth everything out a little bit more, which would remove the thing that we just added, but that's okay. So now that we've added this fat pad right here, let's go to the next one. The next one is not above the eye, but it's below the eye. Sometimes it's very visible, sometimes it's not very visible at all. The fat pad that I'm talking about is basically the one that makes it look tired, which is right here. It basically is right underneath the eye lid. So yeah, that's basically where it is. It's not really that visible on him. In some references I can see it, in some references in most of them I don't. So what I'm gonna do is maybe we can add a slight more volume right here, just a little bit more, like this. That's pretty good. Okay, you can still see how we still can see the cheekbone right here. Then we can see the fat pad right there, and then we can see the other one right here, kind of going over the cheekbone. That's what I want to keep right now. Perfect. Okay, now that we have these fat pads, let's go over the next ones. The next ones are more, hold on, I want to make this smoother slightly. There you go. Okay, perfect. Let's go over the next ones. The next one is very important to make your character look realistic as well. Of course, all of them are, basically, but there are some that are very important, there are some that are slightly less important. The next one is basically covering the corner of the mouth. You can see it in him as well. It may not be that visible in this one, but it's still visible if you know what you're looking for. You can see this very, very slight fold right here, this slight wrinkle. When you're smiling, you see it more. This one right there. That is basically the outline of the fat pad. You can see the other fat pad going down here, like this. And then you have another one, a small one that covers the corner of the mouth. It goes from here down, then upwards, and creates this sort of shape, like this. When you smile, you see it more. It's a very, very slight change in the volume, but it's still important to make your character look realistic. It's actually one of my, I guess, favorite muscles to add, because it makes your mouth pretty. It just makes it look more three-dimensional. If your mouth looks very flat, maybe you've forgotten to add this fat pad right here. So what we basically just do is we go in here, use the clay strips, and add that there. Not really that much to add, but just adding this slight change here can really make your character look more natural. There you go. Very slight change. We're going to detail this some more later. We're going to keep it there for now. One thing that I see that we still need to add is the muscle that goes from the bottom lip to the jaw right here. That basically lets you like pull your lip down. That is attached to the lip here and goes down like this. We don't really have any volume for that just yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a slight more volume right here. Not too much, just very, very slightly. Okay, there you go. Okay, we have some more fat pads here on the side. They aren't that big on him. So what we can do probably is we can, now that we basically have all the fat pads that we need, we can now adjust the shapes a little bit to make it look more like him, basically. We can now look at the reference to yeah, catch his likeness. We stay in this first level of detail until it looks like him. That means maybe going to 50 just so we can detail the eyes some more, but in general we should be able to begin to see his face in resolution 20 before we go into way more detail. One thing I see, well, that is I think the biggest problem right now, is the width of his head. I think we need to make it just slimmer. So I'm going to do that real quick. We also can probably do this. His jaw, I think, is thinner. There you go, pointier. Like that, perfect. Also, this piece here, you can see in the reference, you can see this very clear line here, like this. I think that isn't really perfected in the sculpt right now. We can see the line as well. We try to match it better now. Basically, this line is right here, like this. I think there needs to be some adjustments. I'm going to remove the line right here so I can actually see it. We can see this one's more round on our sculpt. For him, it's more straight. So we're going to straighten it out a little bit. There you go. Also, this part is quite pointy, so we're going to pull it to the side some more. Perfect. Okay, also his forehead is quite high right now, so we're going to pull it slightly lower, not too much. Okay, what we can also do is we can kind of smooth everything a little bit. Of course, there's like skin over the fat, which means we have some smoothing over everything. There you go, perfect. Okay, the next thing that I want to look at is the nose. I think the nose is either too wide, or we just have to adjust the size. I mean the bridge, I think, is the biggest problem, or maybe even the nose itself. Let's see. One thing I want to add now is the nostril, or the holes. They will be very rough, but they will still change the shape of the nostril. You can see if we remove some here, how it changes the nose. One thing that I also talk about in the how to sculpt a nose that is going to come out tomorrow is how, the nose is built first of all, and also how the nostrils look. The nostrils are basically like, if you look from the bottom of the nose, you have like the tip of the nose. Oh, hello. You have the tip of the nose like this. Then you have the nostrils going like outwards, like this. And then you have the base of the nose, basically, like this. And the nostrils are basically here in the middle, which means, the nostrils, not the nose holes, are here in the middle between the nostril and the base of the nose. Which means the holes are basically looking like this. Like ovals that point inwards. That's basically how the nose looks from the bottom. If you want to see a teaser of tomorrow's video, you can see that in the Discord. Okay, let's go to the side view. Oh, that's the wrong one. There you go. We can see the shape of the nostril as well. We have this slight curve there. We can add that now as well. Just pulling this down here. There you go. Perfect. Very, very slight changes. We're gonna pull this lower slightly as well. Perfect. I think we can also pull the nose a little bit higher, not too much. Very, very slightly. Probably also kind of closer. There you go. And then also this piece can probably be slightly more forward, like that. Of course, if you're trying to hit, like, you know, trying to create likeness, all the small details matter. That's why I'm doing these very, very slight changes. If I just now create a character, I wouldn't really go into that much depth when it comes to the proportions, because then you don't really try to recreate someone, you just try to create a character. I think the jaw is slightly more forward, or the ear rather. There you go. The forehead, we can see this very, very big, like the muscles right there. So let's add those. They aren't really in here just yet. There you go. Perfect. We also, there's one thing that we have to keep in mind with the forehead. The forehead has this sort of sphere shape. It is just very slightly a sphere shape, but it's still a sphere shape. What I mean is basically the sphere is located right here, like this. So what we can do is we can go in here. You see he has a slightly round forehead. We can just add some more volume right here to make it more round. You can see how little I just add. Not that much. Just kind of going over like this. Okay. I think one thing we have to change is the size up here. I'm going to pull it down slightly. There you go. Adjusting the head length now. Also, one thing we have to keep in mind is that the head looks like a trapezius. You know, trapezoid, not trapezius, trapezoid. So it's wider in the back than in the front. If you look from the top, you can see it like this. Okay. Let's adjust the lips now. I think the lips need some adjustments here. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this line in the middle, right here, like this. Perfect. Smooth this out some more. Perfect as well. The bottom lip here looks too sharp. Okay. That's a weird song. Okay. I think the problem right now is that the eyes are too high. That seems to be the case. So we're going to pull the eyes lower just slightly. I guess we can just, what we can do to kind of keep everything in place except for this piece right here at the top, we can just mask everything. And then we can just pull it down. We can smooth it so we have a nice transition. Or we probably have to remove some more. And there you go. Okay. Gonna grab the eyes, pull them down. There you go. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna pull this further back just slightly. Okay. Also keep in mind that the eyes in the middle, like where they basically meet, or where they connect to the nose, are quite deep. So we're gonna pull them further in here as well. There you go. This part is very, very deep right there. Here. This piece, that's very, very deep. Keep that in mind. Okay. I think the biggest problem right now are the ears. I mean, the ears, the eyes. We can maybe work with this shape for now. Maybe making it slightly smaller, adjusting the shape. We can already see slightly the shape. Or we can at least use it to kind of define the shape, and then we can detail it more later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my crease brush to kind of create the general shape. There you go. Okay. So one thing that I want to adjust now is the cheekbone looks too sharp. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just smooth it out slightly, like this. There you go. Perfect. I'm also gonna remove a little bit of volume right here. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Switching between the reference and the scope to just kind of see where there needs to be some adjustments. I think the nose is too wide, so I'm going to just make it slightly thinner. Especially the tip. Okay. And that's what you just have to do to, hit the likeness. Adjusting it until it looks good. Because if you just, continue now, adding more detail and, creating, going more into higher resolutions and adding, more detail, you cannot really save, or I guess you could say fix what you've missed in these big shapes. That's why I'm so, so particular right now. Just trying to really nail all the pieces so that I don't have to, or that I, don't run into the problem where I can't fix it later. I try to avoid that, so that's why I'm so specific right now. Doing these small adjustments just to kind of see and hit the likeness. This first level is basically where we try to hit likeness, because later is more about details basically. Like we can also pull this slightly higher. If we go to the profile view, you can see how high the jaw gate goes. It's still under the mouth, but it's not that much lower. I think one thing that is kind of weird right now is that we don't have a neck. Adding the neck should help with the likeness as well. So let's add the neck now. After so long, he finally gets to get a body. So what we do is basically we just create like a flat ground at the bottom right here. There you go, smooth it. We're gonna use the mask to create like this round shape right here, going quite far back and then slightly forward. And there you go. And then what we're gonna do, we can probably go slightly further. There you go. We invert it, use the mask, no, the, what is it, snake hook brush, and basically pull it backwards. You can see how it has this curve to it. So basically the neck, if you look at the reference, my 3D reference, there you go, you can see how the neck goes down and then backwards. See that? Slightly forward and then backwards. And then for the front part, it also just goes slightly down and then like the Adam's apple, and then goes like in this direction. So that's what we basically do in the scope as well. Just very like short, for a short amount of time, or like very shortly, we go down and then we go backwards. Well, with the snake hook brush it's kind of hard to do, but I think it still works. Not going too far back, maybe like over here, and then there you go. Now we add the shoulders, or the neck rather, right here. Perfect. Of course he has quite a thick neck right now, so what we can do is we can kind of make it slimmer. Okay, let's adjust the neck now some more. First of all, I'm going to smooth it to have a good, good base. Connect it more to the head right here. Perfect. And then we basically, add the same muscles that we had on the Venom character. So we're going to begin with the neck, or the muscles that go to the front, basically to the collarbone. What I like to do is I like to begin with the collarbone. Welcome back, Zachary. You're not, we've been working on the sculpt. Of course, as always, you can, go into, you can, I guess, what is it? Rewind if you want to look at the beginning. Today and tomorrow we're going to create Loki, basically. We're trying to hit the likeness, and we're going through the entire workflow. Usually I basically only used, or spent 1 day working on a likeness sculpt. Today I decided to spend 2 days on it, so I can go in a little bit more in depth, not only in character sculpting, what you need for a character, but also in likeness sculpting, what you need to look out for in reference, what you need to look out for when you're sculpting. And yeah, now we basically started to add we sculpted the head, and now we're at the neck, kind of detailing the neck some more. Depending on how far we get today, maybe tomorrow we'll even add some clothing, depending on, of course, how far we get. Good thing is we don't really need to get that far into detail to create, or to nail the likeness. Basically only sticking to 20 or maybe to 50 resolution is all we need. Okay, I'm gonna save it right there. Okay. And of course, Zachary, for you as well. I don't know if you were interested. We now have a Discord. If you want to join the Discord, just type ! Discord in the chat, and you should find it, where you can submit your artwork, and I will give you feedback on stream, and probably also make a video out of it. So if you're interested in that as well, or just asking questions or whatnot, you can post it there. Make sure to read the rules and then hit the thumbs up button to become a friend, so that you can use all the functions on the server. Make make sure that, you know, always keep in mind that we have the Adam's apple here as well. You can see it in the profile view. And yeah, you know, just as a heads up, once we have 2 or 3 artworks in the feedback channel, we're gonna cover, or we're gonna, you know, look at them on stream. We're gonna give feedback on them. So there needs to be one more. So if we get one more today or tomorrow before the stream, then we'll look at them on stream and give them feedback. Okay. So now that we've added these muscles right here, we need to keep in mind that usually they are quite subtle. If we look at the reference, hold on, this one for example, you can see we can only really see them if they're relaxed, basically where they connect to the collarbone right here down there. For me, of course, because of the lighting, you can see it more defined. Especially if I do this, you can see how defined it is, because these muscles are basically used for the rotation of the head. You can see, woo, flexing my muscle right there. Yeah, that's what they're used for. But if you just look straight into, you know, if you just look straight, they're quite relaxed, which means we need to smooth them out here as well, because they're not tense. There you go. We could, you know, do this here, down here. Give them more detail down there. There you go. Perfect. So now that we have the neck, basically, we also have the Adam's apple that you can see in here as well, right there. Let's do the rest of the neck. So let's go back to this reference right here. Let's look at the rest. I have another one from the same photo shoot that I can use. That is in my reference sheet on the right side. But let's look at this one right here first. What you can see is that the collarbone is lower than the neck muscles. You can see how the neck muscles go from the back of the head or back of the neck and then go forward like this. Connect to the collarbone like there, right there. Collarbone goes all the way up to there. And that is basically the neck muscle. Then we have some more muscles like this muscle, for example, going like this. We have the middle piece right here. We have some more muscles that go like this. And then we have the collarbone right here. These are basically the landmarks of the character. These are what we need to add to make it look like a real, you know, character. So let's add them now. First thing first, the collarbone. Collarbone, pretty simple. Just, you know, doing this, making sure that it's quite round. If you look at the reference, if you look from the top, you can see that it's like a V shape. Can you see that? Hold on. Do it like this. Can you see the V shape right here? Like this V shape. That's what we keep in mind for the scope as well. If you look from the top, well, the head is quite big, but you can see the V shape going back to the middle of the shoulders, basically. There you go. Go all the way up there. Perfect. And then they stay right there. That's where the shoulder joint is basically sitting underneath. We could maybe pull this further forward. Let's see the profile view. Oh, it looks quite good to me. I think we need to pull the neck a little bit further forward. Like this. Okay. You can especially see it right here, how you can have this curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this higher, like this. There you go. We have the, of course, shoulder muscle connecting to the clavicle. Isn't that the name as well? the I immediately forgot what the name is. The collarbone. There you go. The shoulder muscle connect to there as well, of course. There you go. Going around the shoulder joint. Perfect. And then we also have the chest and part of the kind of muscle, or the shoulder muscle connecting to there as well. We have a slight dip right there, as you can see. That is basically where the transition from the shoulder muscle to the chest muscle is. If you look at the reference, you can see how there are two layers to the chest. Right here, you can see that you have the chest going into, basically to the upper arm muscle. That is right here. They're connected right there on the shoulder, and then the shoulder muscle lies on top of the chest. So that's why you have this slight dip right here. You can see it right there as well. See the hole? That's basically where this dip comes from. Gonna drink something real quick. He's quite lean, yeah. In some films, he's actually quite ripped. I don't know if that's the case for this image. Yeah, the pecs. Exactly. Okay. We can probably make this like a better, not this round. I don't like when the sculpt ends like in this super round shape, so I'm going to pull it down. We can then use a Boolean cube in the end to kind of create a clean ending. Okay, so now that we have the shoulder and the chest, let's add the oh, one thing we have to keep in mind: the shoulder width. Shoulder width is basically 3 heads right next to each other. You have the one in the middle, and then you have 2 next to the one in the middle. So what we have to do is we have to kind of see that the shoulders are as wide as kind of putting a head right next to the one that we already have. Looks pretty good to me. We could maybe make it slightly thinner like this. Oh, okay. There are also like simplified books that you could use, but I can see why you would grab a like real anatomy book. That's what I was doing first as well, because I would, you know, I like seeing the simplification, but I also sometimes like to see each individual part of the anatomy, just because then, you know, I like to know, or I like to, every time I learn something new, I most of the time ask myself why, no matter what it is, you know. Okay, now you sculpt the head like this. Okay, why? Now you sculpt the neck like this. Okay, why? Why do you add some more volume right there? And I think sometimes if you simplify things, that can get lost slightly. And you know, looking at real anatomy can help there. What I'm doing right here is basically adding the neck muscle. The neck muscle goes from here, from the back of the head, all the way to the front to the collarbone, like this, and then of course goes up like this. It kind of split in the middle, it's kind of mirrored, so it goes down like this, and then it goes in like this T shape. Outwards. And then you also, right next to the shoulder, right here, you have a muscle right here, or 3 muscles that you can see right here. See how it's like this T shape, like zip, and then to the side. You have these 3 muscles right here, which are kind of confusing to kind of, I still don't really know how they are on top of each other. It's quite small for me, but maybe you can see it. You can see this one goes down, this one, and then you have like a big one covering this one, and then I think we have one down underneath there as well. So let's see if we can put that in there as well. How do you extract from mask like that? What do you mean? What did I extract? Sorry, I'm not an extractor, okay? I'm a sculptor. Okay, let me look at my reference. Okay. So the first one is basically just here. And then there's another one. The other one we don't really see, so we don't really have to care about it. There you go. Okay. Of course, it's not like super lean. He's not that lean that we can't see any fat, or that we can see every single muscle, so we're going to smooth everything out slightly. There you go. That looks pretty good. What we could do is we can kind of make this chest a little bit rounder. You can see how flat it is. We can probably make it slightly rounder by pulling this forward. Maybe even up here as well. There you go. What do you mean? Hold on. Oh, never mind. You just probably sculpted around it, lol. You moved fast there. What do you mean? Or which part do you mean? You know, that's why we do this. If you have any questions, ask me. So what is it? Tell me. Neck shoulder muscles, you mean these ones here? These ones? These ones? Oh, you mean this piece here? Well, I just basically grabbed it and pulled it down like this. That's what I did. Neck shoulder is, yeah, trapezius. There you go. We have to split them in between here. Where the, what is it? The spine is. There you go. That should be good enough. We can probably pull it forward slightly. Oh, no, we can actually pull it further back. Okay. Yeah, so to add his neck, what I basically did was just I added some more volume right here. Nothing really crazy. You know, I'm just doing like this and then smoothing it. Okay. So now that we have the neck, we have a better reference point. I think one thing that I want to change is this piece right here is too thick, so I'm going to smooth it out some more. Make it slightly thinner as well. There you go, perfect. This piece here needs to be quite a little bit wider. There you go. Oh, that's too wide. Okay. Of course, the best reference you could find would be with when the person is bald, of course. But that's of course quite rare. So you know, if you can find it, that would be crazy good. If not, then it's not like too crazy, or it's not horrible. Okay, let me see the profile view. I'm gonna save it right there. Let's look at it. Oh, we have to add one more thing, which is the connection to the jaw, basically, adding the mouth. You can see how it just goes straight up. We need to basically create space for the tongue. So what we do is basically we fill this kind of corner right there. You can see how it's just flat. That's basically where his tongue rests. So we're gonna add some more volume right here to make it, as you can see, straight. Like this, perfect. We can probably pull this forward slightly. There you go. Okay. Just kind of tweaking everything slightly. Perfect. Okay. And that covers how I create a human head. Of course, if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the comments. As I said in the beginning, you can join me live on one of these sculpting sessions on my live channel. Link should be in the description. If you like the video, feel free to give it a like. If you don't like the video, feel free to give it a dislike and tell me in the comments why. I hope you have a great day and maybe I'll see you next time. See ya!